No.
Good, good. Start streaming. Okay. And we're live. It is Sunday, the 15th of July, and this is the Snappy-Tech podcast, episode number 37, with our favourite recurring guest, mostly because he's our only recurring guest, Paul Stubbington. How are you?
You say reoccurring. I haven't been on for probably about 5-6 months at this point. Probably about 5 months since shortly after I moved. So
Yes, but you also haven't been on for like 3 episodes, so...
yeah, you have a point there. That's yeah, it's cool to be back. At times I've kind of been like, yeah, it's nice to not have the thing to have to do on a Sunday night, especially when it's times where I just want to lay in bed and watch TV. Same way, I really do miss this sometimes.
Aww, cute.
Mainly because I get to spend an hour taking the piss out of Apple and you. I mean,
And Greg. Don't forget Greg.
Oh yeah, and blaming Greg for everything as well.
Greg, if you're listening to this, by the way, we love you. You're great. We did a lot of taking the piss out of Greg last week as well. I feel like he has to come on at some point to defend his honor. Poor guy. That's actually my plot. That's actually my my secret plan all along. If we talk enough shit about him, he'll have to come on eventually. Like that's a plan to get him back on.
Well, it can go one of two ways. It can either be a case of he's got to come back on to defend himself, or he just hates our guts and just never comes back.
True. I alluded to this in the tweet, but I didn't in the... actually, before we carry on, can we just make a point of the show title for this episode? I'm not sure if you noticed it. Yeah. Do you want to read it out for us?
Football got stopped at the English Channel.
Do you want to explain the joke to the viewers at home?
No, because I'm currently busy typing my own tweet. I can't do two things at once.
I'll do it then. So what happened was, for the last 2 weeks, British people have forgotten that the only team that England actually beat at the World Cup was Panama, and were convinced that they were going to win the World Cup, and then they lost to Croatia. However, France won, which means that it was coming home, except it got stopped at the English Channel, and I blame Brexit, personally. But hey, there we are. Okay, I was watching the public stream, which I have muted, obviously, and I saw your lips move in the public stream, and I was expecting you to say something in real time. I was like, why can't I hear him? Okay. So, oh god, I should have muted TweetDeck before we got into this. Let me mute it now.
Yeah, probably.
Let's mute TweetDeck. Cool. Right, so... before we carry on, I should point out we're doing a light drinking episode, I think, and I'll explain why as we get deeper into this. But I have some cider, some Nordic cider. What? Half a pint of beer. Just
I've went through the other half already. That's the reason why it's only half at the moment. But it's still very depressing.
Also, real quick, this is the bottle opener I'm using. If you're only listening to this, we're gonna get Paul to describe it. But Paul, if you describe what this looks like, and then I'll explain the context behind it.
Definitely looks like a pair of women's private undershirt objects.
But very politically correct of you, Paul. So the context behind the... Oh, hang on. Can I stick this on my... It's magnetic. It sticks to my mic arm. Wait. There we go. I'm not going to keep that there, though. Right, hang on. Let me correct my... There we go. So the context for this is my sister spent the last 2 weeks in Poland. She wants to be a doctor and spent 2 weeks at, like... what is essentially a summer school, I guess. She shadowed some doctors, like watched some surgery, stuff like that. And yeah, so she was there for 2 weeks, wasn't quite sure what to bring home, so she brought a stress ball and this, and I was like, huh, interesting. I'm glad that I'm easy to buy presents for, I guess.
Like, yeah.
It is what it is. Anyway, in the world of tech news, should we discuss where I've been this week? Because it's been crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have had 2 all-nighters this week. One on Tuesday night and one night before last. So if we go through this in week order, on Tuesday I was told, well, on Monday I was told I had a meeting on Wednesday, and I needed a 15-minute presentation for it, and I couldn't come up with any ideas on Monday, so got some sleep. And then the next day, I started work on it, and it was it had to be up to 15 minutes. So I spent Tuesday afternoon working on it, and then I finished I wrote it during the day on Tuesday, but I actually made the presentation part of it overnight, Tuesday night. I finished at like 7 a.m., I want to say, but the meeting was at 10, so there was no point sleeping, so I decided to just turn it into an all-nighter. Powered through it, and I came out of it not too bad. Like, I had a relatively short day. Like, I had the meeting at 10, and then I was working. I'm helping set up an office in West London, so I was helping with that in the afternoon, and I finished there at like 3. So I just came home and crashed, and just like relaxed that night. And then Thursday, I was helping with the set. So I'm filming a documentary. I think I mentioned it in passing last week. I'm helping film a documentary. And last week, on Friday, I was helping with the setup of, on Thursday, sorry, I was helping with the setup of said system. We took all our gear. We made sure everything was ready to film this 12-hour event. We also filmed the setup, because when you have a concert, it doesn't just happen, it takes time to set everything up, and that was on the Thursday, so we filmed all of that. I filmed, so I'm not sure if I mentioned this to you, we're using a Blackmagic production camera 4K, which films raw 4K. And for context, we had a 500 gigabyte SSD in there because it writes directly to SATA SSDs, and that 500 gigabyte SSD would store about half an hour of footage at raw format. That was so we filmed like 2 minutes of raw footage just for the sake of having some and being like, hey, look, we have some raw footage. Oh, but no one's gonna use it. No one's gonna as much as touch it because it is terrifying. It does look great though, so that's a plus. Friday night, so we finished setup at around 3 a.m. Got home and then got a few hours sleep. Was up at about 10, so it wasn't too bad in terms of sleep that night. 10, and then I was on site at about 2. I got home after filming at 10 a.m. the next morning.
I mean, you was only awake for 24 hours, though. It could have been worse. I know you was active, but...
Yeah, it wasn't the being awake that was the issue. It was that for 12 hours, I was carrying around the camera, like, filming stuff.
Oh, was you doing on actually moving around with your shoulder mount?
Like, we didn't end up doing any interviews. It was all crowd shots. The interviews were doing it at a later date. And so it was all, like, if I was just sat there, like, doing stuff, that would have been fine. But it was, like, it was basically a roaming camera. And it was, let me see if I can get a piece of footage to show real quick on the stream. So if I go into that folder there. Oh, Paul, if you want to see it on, like, the raw footage, it will be on the storage drive. It's currently in the process of being uploaded. Okay. Everything that isn't from Friday night is currently there and viewable if you want to see the raw footage. Let me grab a random clip here, like that one. Oh, let me mute it because we don't need the music. So this is some bartending going down. There was this person who turned up at one point she was completely topless. It was hilarious.
Why didn't I come?
And like the funniest part wasn't even the fact she was topless. It was like let me give context to this story. I'm here filming stuff, right? I'm not there like messing around, whatever. Like it's a proper thing, and you can see the footage came out great. I'll say that. Like everyone like has a go at the G7 for apparently Micro Four Thirds being terrible at low light. This came out really well. Like I was really happy with this footage. But what happens is I'd been filming something, and between shots I like point my camera at the ground, right? So what happens is I've just filmed something, point my camera to the ground, and she has like walked in as I do that. And she like walks up to me having noticed the fact I was holding a camera. We're back. Let me just make sure we're recording real quick. I believe we are back on stream. Let me just double check. The first thing I did is kind of come straight in. I didn't check. So apologies for that. Let me see. Give me 2 seconds. I just want to see what the YouTube stream looks like. Yeah, my computer did something it hasn't done in a long time, which is just cut out. Like the screen just went black and it died. But yeah, we're back now. That was really bizarre. I just want to see how far into telling the story I was before it died.
About she noticed the camera and came up to you.
So, I just realised your camera doesn't look anything near presentable. Hang on, let me fix your view. There you are, so people can see you properly. So yeah, so she just walked up.
Your camera back on, by the way.
Sorry. Oh, is it not on Discord? Sorry, you're right. Sorry, I had it on a.
I can't hear you. Is this my?
Oh no!
Computer? I need to check
what has happened here? Have I muted? Did I accidentally mute myself? No. Discord can hear me, so that's not Discord. Sorry, OBS can hear me. This is on Paul's end. This isn't me.
Speak.
Hello. Can you hear me? I'll take it as a no.
Okay, yeah, I still can't.
Well, I need to drink to forget at this point.
There we go. It's back.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. My audio, second or third time it's done it recently. I think because there's a bit of weight on the cable that comes out of the port, so it's probably broken the port a little bit.
Oh, okay. So, I remembered where we were in the story. Okay. So, I'm filming, put my camera down. She like walks up to me, and I hadn't paid any attention to her because I'd been busy like filming something else, and mentally I was in that space where, you know, when you're like between one thing and you're about to focus on the next thing and you're taking zero regard as to what's happening around you. So she like waltzes up to me and just taps on my shoulder. I turn around, look at her, and then she goes, "Is there something on my shirt?" And I like stare down at like to see her shirt, which she's not wearing, and it like takes me a second for it to click. Like there was an audible beat between her going, "Is there something wrong? Is there something on my shirt?" Me looking and then going, "Oh wait a second, you're not wearing a shirt. That's the joke here."
Wow, that's
Like I'd been so consumed in filming that it took me, and this was at like 3 AM as well, so I was really tired at that point.
So, yeah, this point.
So it wasn't like at the start of the night, like it was like we were deep in there, and it was just like, oh my days, it was.
No, I do get what you mean though. It's sometimes you just get so focused in it, especially when you're video producing, whether it's the camera or presenting. Oh, Parshaf is in chat. Hey.
Hello to Parshaf.
And you do get so just into what you're doing that you just no longer know anything that's going on around you. Even when you're actively speaking to someone over a camera, if someone were to come and speak to me now, I'd be completely confused as to what's going on.
It was probably like the highlight of my evening, purely because like Actually, no, that's a lie. The highlight of my evening was getting bought like free drinks throughout the night. I didn't pay for a single drink that night, which I wasn't doing anyway, because we had a separate room where like everything was provided. But obviously, like the regular party goers weren't aware of this. They just saw some guy running around with a camera for most of the night, assuming I wasn't getting anything. So they like kept buying me drinks, and I was like, "Cheers! You don't need to do that, but I'll take it."
Were they alcoholic though?
It was a beer, and then I was bought. Actually, no, one of the drinks was actually given to me by the bartender. Because I couldn't be bothered to go back to the green room, and I'm pretty sure they'd been told not to take money off me, but I can't confirm that. Because I went up, like, asked for a Red Bull, and he just gave it to me. I was like, okay, cool. I was like, wait, what? So I assumed they were told not to charge me, but I have no way of confirming that.
I presume, considering that it wasn't that your payment for the night. So.
Yeah, just unlimited food and drink. It was good. It was good. I didn't end up eating anything though. I was
just about to, just thinking, did you even get a chance to eat anything?
Nah.
When you're carrying around a camera all night, you don't really think, I probably should sit down and eat now.
I did get like a 20-minute power nap in there though. Like, I went back to a green room and it was empty, and it was like 4:30, and I could tell I wasn't gonna make it, and I was just like, I know. I turned off the light, shut the door. I just got like 20 minutes of sleep. It was good.
Not bad at all.
Yeah. What about you, Paul? What have you been doing this week?
That's a good question.
I know, that's why I asked.
I actually, apart from just the usual Netflix streams, playing games, I've actually done nothing. I think it was this week I finished Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
Right.
That's about the highlight of my month. That's honestly about it. My life is very uninteresting right now.
Okay, shall we I just want to double check something. Okay. Cool. So, should we get into the tech news?
No, I think we should just make it Snappy podcast.
Okay, cool. So what's your plan for next week then?
Sleep, and more sleep.
Okay. So real talk. What's happened this week? Do you want to start with the Surface Go device? Like, what I can only describe as the most bizarre choice Microsoft has ever made in building a device.
How so, though?
It just doesn't make sense to me. Well, it does, but it doesn't. Like, Greg and I had this discussion on Twitter, where, if you're not aware, Microsoft announced the Surface Go, which is a smaller version of their Surface Pro running a Pentium processor, the Pentium Gold, which is actually like within 10% of an i3 performance-wise. Like, they're really close. It's a remarkably solid chip. It's effectively an i3.
And it's fanless as well.
Yeah, it's fanless. And the i3 and I think maybe the i5 Surface Pros were fanless as well, or are fanless, I should say. So that's really cool. Get it? Really cool. But give me a second. But oh, okay. Compose myself. This is why I don't drink. This is why you should never let me drink.
This is why we had a break from the podcast.
But so yeah, the Surface Go starts at, I want to say, £300 off the top of my head.
I know it's $399, $380 without student discount. I've got the page up here, so.
Oh, here it is. Yeah, so free. Oh, that's it. It's the same price as an iPad. Let me just pull
Coincidence?
Let me just pull up the Apple Store. Apple.com/UK iPad buy. Okay, so because I think that's what I paid for my mum's iPad. Okay, so 32 gig is 320, 128 gig is 409. Let's compare. Okay, so does this have? I'm not aware of whether or not this has cellular or not. It might do. I don't think it does.
What, the iPad?
No, the iPad does. I'm not sure if the Surface does.
The Surface Go does have cell, yeah, if I remember rightly.
I should have.
Or am I thinking about something else? I might even be just thinking about the Chromebook we've got to talk about.
Yeah, it might be a Surface Go 4G. Let me see what that throws up. No, it's not. The Surface Go does not have 4G. Okay, that's fine. So, the regular cheap iPad costs $320. How much is the iPad Mini at this point? Because I think, when was the last time the iPad Mini was updated? I feel like that was ages ago.
I think they have updated it. They just do it very under the radar. Actually, no, iPad Mini 4. So
yeah, it's the fourth iteration.
Because I've got the second. I'm pretty sure the one I've got the second one, and I've had that for 3 years now.
Apparently January 20. Oh no, September 2015.
Can't be that far ago.
It was so the 4 came out 3 years ago. That is crazy. They haven't Let me check for tech specs.
I like my iPad Mini. At times, I wish I had the bigger screen.
Yeah, it's got an A8 chip. It's 3 years old. It's an A8. Yeah. Bloody hell! That's that is old. They need to update their iPad Minis.
I thought they'd updated it since.
Okay, so an iPad Mini is 400 quid. But that's not an app to get.
Okay.
Wait. Hang on. Apple are charging £400 for a 3-year-old tablet. Just to clarify, this is like the what was it? The MacBook Air, was that it? They were charging full price for that.
They've done it for a lot of them.
They've charged full price for the MacBook Air up until like. Is it still available? It is. It's still available. They still charge some ridiculous amount for it.
In fairness to Apple, their products don't age as badly as a lot of devices. I've had my tablet for over 4 years now, and it still runs very well. However,
okay, but Paul,
they don't age the prices either, and it is so bad. Like, I don't think they actually changed a single pound since the launch day.
Paul, the MacBook Air, right, which is at this point I want to say like a solid 5-6 years old, is £950.
It wasn't exactly good. It was thin, but it wasn't exactly good when it was released.
No, it wasn't. To be fair, it wasn't designed to be good per se. It was designed to be like the thinnest, lightest that thing. Yeah, like. Then
they brought out the MacBook at 12-inch, and then it kind of became
obsolete.
Kind of.
That is ridiculous. If you want it upped to and you can only get it with an i5, which is dual core, should I mention?
And quite a slow dual core as well.
Yeah, 1.8 gigahertz. Like, it's an old laptop at this point. It isn't something that you should be selling at £950.
I think 950p would do it at this rate.
That is crazy. But yeah, so the Surface Go is priced roughly the same as. Let me just. I just realised it killed my presets on my Stream Deck. There we are. So it's priced at roughly the price of an iPad. The idea is, it's kind of supposed to be an iPad Pro competitor because it supports the Smart Keyboard and the Surface Pen, both of which cost £100 on top of the price of a device. I discussed this with Greg on the Twitters. That the reason they're not bundling it is almost certainly because they're just going for like they'll offer it with the pen and the keyboard for $380 for the price it is currently over like Christmas or something. Like on sale they'll bundle in the keyboard and the pen because that's what they do with the Surface Pros. Yeah,
I mean the Surface Pro comes. I don't think it does anymore, but I know it used to come with the pen. But of course, the type cover's always been an optional extra, which they do, of course, the occasional deal on. But it's definitely one of those situations where they've obviously tried to get out a really cheap product. And I was watching a video earlier on, which I think kind of gets it quite spot on, that they've offered the 64 gig, 4 gig RAM version for $380 or $400 in the US.
Yeah.
So that looks great and all that. However, the one that most people are going to want is the one with the 128 gig of storage. Because I think the lower version as well has a slower storage. Yeah, because the 64 gig version's eMMC memory instead of NVMe SSD.
Yeah,
So a lot of people are going to want the extra storage, the extra RAM, and the faster storage. So it's like, you're offering this Surface Go for £380, but no one's going to want to buy that. They're going to want to buy the £500 one. And even if you do buy the cheaper one, it's crazy that on a nearly £400 device, most people are going to want to buy it with the type cover, which then becomes a £500 purchase, at which point 20% of that is a good but very cheap and lightweight feeling keyboard.
Yeah. What I will say is, if this were £380 with keyboard, I would almost suggest it above any tablet currently. Like,
yeah,
because it
100%.
It runs full Windows. Android is just a cluster truck on. Oh, look at me censoring myself automatically. It is a dumpster fire on the tablet. Unless you buy a Samsung Tab Pro 4 or whatever the latest one is called, which is actually really good, but is expensive. Yeah.
Yeah.
So short of that, and that's only because of Samsung's like heavy modding of Android on a tablet. Any other Android tablet is just not worth buying. And then at that point, you're competing against iPads at $380 with a keyboard. That's potentially pulling people away from an iPad Pro, and is pulling people into that, and also being a great price. But
I mean, iOS for tablets, iOS is a better system. The ease, the speed, just the general snappiness on that tiny little device will be nicer. However, the Windows operating system has came a long way for tablet use, and there's a lot of apps now. There's a lot of games. And there's a lot to be said for the benefit of having a full operating system in the palm of your hands.
Yeah. Can I take a second to... This isn't completely... I guess this is kind of related, because we mentioned Apple. I want to shift topics real quick. And I know this is abrupt, but there's just this thing I want to show, and I can't get past it, because it's just so hilarious to me. So Apple, out of nowhere, released the new MacBook Pros, the mid-2018 versions, with a slightly refined keyboard and then just newer processors. Like, that's more or less the only change. They basically brought them up to date with the processors that a lot of manufacturers have been putting in since January, March-ish, somewhere around there. So they updated the keyboards. If you were to go to the Geekbench website, however, and look at the Mac benchmarks, which is just browser.geekbench.com/Mac-benchmarks. What I find hilarious is the new MacBook Pro, the highest spec MacBook Pro, ranks in at number 2 of all Apple devices to run a benchmark, below only one of the mid-2017 iMacs. It's actually faster than if you were to get a high-spec iMac. If you were to get a high-spec MacBook Pro, it is faster in single-core benchmarks than an iMac Pro.
The keyword there is single-core, though.
Yes. Yes,
of course, it's got a lot less cores than the iMac Pros. I mean, even the Mac Pro from late 2013 beats it out. However, it is still amazing. I was actually in the week having a little look at Razer Blades, and of course now you can get a Razer Blade with a 1060 or even a 1070, two very good graphics cards that could play any game out there that you want and even stream them. And the processor that they've got in them on Passmark gets a score only slightly short of my 5820K processor in my PC. And it's just ridiculous that we're now getting these mobile CPUs that are beating out some top CPUs from just a couple of years ago. Such a rapid improvement in the past few years.
And to be fair, this is mostly Intel. I want to use the phrasing Intel's fault, because they've been the ones really holding back. Like, they could have had consumer 8-core chips ages ago. The only reason they ever ended up doing so is because Ryzen was actually a challenge. If Ryzen weren't to have turned up and to have been challenging for what, like, I would argue that Ryzen is probably, in terms of value for money, it's hard to argue against. It is just such a great proposition. And so that really made Intel have to up their game in terms of their processors for devices that especially were laptops, because if you look at the, I think it's called Ryzen Pro, is that their mobile range?
I can't remember.
So if let me check. Ryzen powered computers. So yeah, you can get the Ryzen. So for £1,100, so £1,150, you can buy a Asus Strix GL702ZC. It's a 17-inch laptop with, I think this is more or less a full desktop card. Yeah, it's a Ryzen 1700 CPU, which is the one that's in this PC right now, the one I'm using. That is the exact same CPU. Mine's actually 1700X and is overclocked, but is, more or less exactly the same. Running at 3.7 gigahertz turbo speed, and then it also has an RX 580 in there. It is crazy. Like, if this existed and Intel didn't release an i9 version with, how many cores does the i9 version have? I think it's 6, right? Yeah. So the i9 is a 6-core, 3 gigahertz processor. If they didn't release that, Ryzen was leaving them dead in the water.
And at times you do wonder how much Intel have legitimately been holding back for the case of, let's give ourselves more years of products. For that, that's the easiest way to sort of to explain it. But you do wonder how much longer we would have been waiting for 6-core mobile chips and the 6 and 8-core CPU chips outside of the Extreme Editions, if AMD didn't bring out such a good lineup with Ryzen.
I want to try and find a bench, because I should mention this topic was completely unplanned. I want to try and find a benchmark of this laptop, the Ryzen laptop. I'm gonna. So it is a full-on desktop processor, from what I can tell. 3D Mark. Can we get Geekbench 4? Here we are.
Some more thermal throttling.
So Geekbench 4 is it single core or multi-core? I can't tell. I assume it's multi-core. 16897. So apparently they are quite close in terms of score. So from what I can tell, the i9 does outscore the R7. However, it runs hot, so it needs some better cooling. Okay, we'll do some digging. We'll come back to this next week, I'm sure. But it's interesting.
Yeah, before we go, and I've got Passmark up here, their laptop list.
Oh, that's a good shout.
So of the it is Ryzen 7 Pro, their top laptop processor, the 2700U. That scores 9.4 thousand. The top Intel offering is the i9 8950HK, which does score 14,700. So it does score an extra 5,000. However, I'm guessing
this is also. Look, I've got the list here as well. That I will point out, that's the Ryzen 7 Pro. That is specifically the laptop CPU.
Yeah.
Whereas
the built-in graphics are a lot better.
Yeah. What I will say though, this laptop uses the proper desktop CPU, not a laptop one.
Yeah, the one you was. Actually, also the difference of 5,000 points between these two. One, the Ryzen one has 2 less cores, so 4 less logical cores.
Hmm.
And also the Intel one runs at 45 watts in comparison to a maximum of 25 watts by the looks of it, or average of 15 the AMD.
There you go.
So that's quite a bit different.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. That's for sure.
Yeah. Okay, let's get rid of all of these benchmark tabs that I've got open.
What do you mean? Bring all the benchmarks. Nothing but bench. That sounds like a really bad TV show.
Also, we've got someone in our chat, Daniel Armstrong. So you've just missed. We were just talking about the Surface Go, but we said that we do think it is a legitimate competitor to the iPad now.
Yeah, it's a legitimate competitor, but if they bundled in the keyboard, then great. If they didn't, unless you really want that keyboard, in which case I suggest Surface Go. If not, then it's probably not worth it.
If you want, I've never used the Apple Pencil. Yeah, Apple Pencil. But I'm guessing if you're an artist, the Surface Go will probably also be a bit of a better option as well.
Yeah, the Surface Pro, the Surface Pen, and the Apple Pencil are also pretty. They're both roughly equal in terms of ability, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, I try to ignore the Apple Pencil unless there's something taking the piss out of it, because it is frankly
just the charging mechanism for that, I still find hilarious to this day. Before that though, he did ask S7 Edge or LG G6. Yes. I feel like this is a question we've answered before, like ages ago.
Possibly S8 versus G6. Yeah,
that might have been it, but
I mean, I have the S8 Plus, and I'm very happy with it. Though, if I had to choose between S7 Edge and LG G6, I'd probably go for the LG.
Yeah, so the G6 has a slightly faster processor. What else? I believe that one was actually a 18:9 aspect ratio. Let me pull up the specs.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, I remember this discussion. So the S7 Edge has a bit more bezel top and bottom, so the phones end up roughly the same size. However, the LG G6 has an 18:9 display and less bezel top and bottom, has a slightly faster processor in a Snapdragon 821 instead of an 820. Battery differences are more or less negligible at, where is this? 3,300 milliamp hours to 3,600. They're both IP68. They both have Bluetooth 4.2. They both have 4 gigabytes of RAM. So they're more or less comparable, apart from the fact that the G6 has an IPS LCD display, whereas the S7 Edge has a AMOLED. Whew. Whew.
Oh, not used to all this presenting. It's too hot for it.
Yeah, and and the G6, sorry, is slightly heavier. And I remember the point we made specifically on if you use USB-C for all your things, then go for the LG G6 for sure.
Yeah, no, I was very glad that the S8 had USB-C, because though I got it quite late, I think it was like 6 months after the release or something like that. I think it actually may have swayed me to go for a different phone if it didn't have USB-C, partially because up until this point I've been using a Nexus 6P for nearly 2 years. So to then have to buy a bunch of new cables, well, I say buy a bunch of new cables, just replace all of my USB-C stuff with either new cables or old cables.
It's a definite pain.
Especially being used to them really fast charging from USB-Cs.
So, Paul, tomorrow starts the Google Prime. That's not even a thing. The Amazon Prime sales. Are you keeping your eye out for anything in particular, apart from a webcam?
Webcam. I need a table for in bed. I feel like such an
That's
old
oddly
person.
specific.
Yeah, no, I spend a lot because of my leg. I spend a lot of time lying in bed now, and because I can't have my laptop on my leg without it hurting.
Right.
I need a table.
Can I suggest a retailer known as IKEA? I'm not even sure what the joke is here.
Oh, okay. Like,
did you just get that?
It took me a few seconds, and then just the rest of it's just disgust. But you say that, but I need like proper just normal folding table, and it's just easier to wait for Prime Day and see if they have something. Also, rather than having to go out or then navigate their site, which is yeah.
Can I just say real quick? I'm currently watching the Formula E. Like, I'm glancing at it. I have it on a second screen. We were going to watch this together as a stream for like a lap or so, and then never got around to it because it's the final race. And I just glanced over, and the Constructors' Championship is really tense. And according to the live chat, it has like some of the drivers have been freaking out. I wish I could be watching this like with the audio, but I'll watch the highlights later, and I'm sure it'll be equally amusing.
But I'm sure there's a lot of things that I should be looking out for, and at times that I have thought about looking out for, but I forgot them all. I did actually notice there's I don't think they did it last year, but this year they've got a bunch of Prime Day launches.
They do, yeah. They definitely didn't do that last year, and I've been considering getting the TicWatch Pro. Which is actually available now, I think, is it? Yeah, I could buy it right now if I wanted, and it would arrive tomorrow or Tuesday. The TicWatch Pro is the new smartwatch by Mobvoi? Is that how you pronounce the name?
Ooh, that actually looks...
Mobvoi. Yeah, that is their name. Okay, cool. Look at me go. It actually has 2 screens. It has a regular high-resolution AMOLED display, and then it has a really low-resolution LCD display for battery saving mode, which apparently makes it last up to a week, which is of no use to me because I just charge my phone every night. My watch, sorry, like I just take it off when I go to sleep and put it on its charging crate. Has NFC payment, interchangeable bands, Wear OS. Yeah.
I noticed there's a company called STK that I'd never heard of before, but the phone they're releasing. I mean, the RAM's a little low, but at that kind of price, like, what do you expect? But the company's actually from, I think it's London, and I looked on their site, and one of their phones that's like on pre-order at the moment, £200, 5.7-inch HD display, octa-core processor, Android 8.1, 64 gig storage, 4 gig RAM, 3000 milliamp hour battery, expandable storage on up to 128 gig, and dual SIM. And I actually looked at it. So, like, SDK, can you send this? This sounds interesting.
So SDK, did you say, or STK?
STK.
Let me see. Apparently, there's a club called STK as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I got it. Oh, the Amazon it's an Amazon exclusive.
Sure it's is it I was looking at someone else earlier on. I think it's these. They're from London. Yeah. #born in London. It's meant to be like a design-led company.
Right. We should see if we can get into their offices, film a video there.
Yes, and I did actually think about this this earlier. Actually, if you look at their they've got a smartphone page and
I'm on it right now.
Page, the feature phones page. Yeah, it's just all their non-smartphones. Why do anyone make these kind of phones still?
Because it's £13. I might do a video on this just for Bants right now. Like, I might buy this phone.
Go for it.
Like, just for the sake of being like putting this next to an iPhone 10 and comparing the phones. Like, I might do a drop test and hope the back of the phone doesn't break. Like, plus it comes with fully equipped with earphones and a wall charger. Like, it comes with headphones with a £14 phone. Like.
Does it have a headphone jack then? That's the important.
I would assume so. That's one more feature than an iPhone has. Wait. Oh no, it says STK smartphones. Sorry, no. Comes with a 3-year warranty though. That's nice.
It's not bad. It's 32 meg of ROM, but plus a 32 gig memory card. So,
well, yeah, that's actually. You know what? How much is a 32 gig memory card?
I'm pretty sure more than £13.
No, they're like a fiver, aren't they? So that's a regular SD card. Hang on.
32 gig.
We want micro SD, not regular SD. Yeah, they're like a tenner.
Yeah, so
wait. We could buy this phone, take the SD card out of it, and it would be and it would cost £3. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
I mean, I'm guessing it's going to be some Chinese, really dodgy brand.
It even has dual SIM. This is hilarious. I'm pretty sure we could. I'm pretty sure they could take this phone apart for more parts. We could take this phone apart for more money on parts than the price of the phone itself.
That actually sounds completely right.
I feel like that would be a funny video as well, like seeing if we could actually pull it off. Like, if we could sell the parts from... Oh, you know what we could do?
Sounds like a lot of effort.
Wait. No. Actually, this is really easy, because what we do is we pull out the battery, pull out the SD card, right, which is a tenner, and we flog it on eBay for like a fiver. And that's it. It's a simple two-step process.
Well, it's either that or you sell the SD card for a tenner, and then you just find some old lady that needs an old phone and say, yeah, this phone costs a tenner, and just forget to mention that there should be an SD card with it.
They wouldn't notice.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't think we should build a business off of abusing old ladies.
You say that.
Yes, I do say that pretty adamantly.
I think it'd be great.
Well,
everyone knows this is the best kind of business scheme.
What, the kind that abuses old ladies?
Yeah, exactly. Entrepreneur in the making here.
Well,
I should.
You know what I will say? This company, Anke, these guys are doing a sale for the thing as well. These guys make surprisingly decent cameras. I just want to put that out there. Like, they're much better than I expected, personally. Just saying.
Okay.
Yeah. I didn't buy them for personal use. I bought them for someone else, but I did like the setup and making sure it all worked. It was surprisingly decent. Something that's actually launching on Prime Day. A phone by a company that everyone kind of wished didn't exist anymore. The HTC Desire 12
Apple.
Dual.
Oh, that too. That's been on pre-order for a while, I think, as well.
Yeah, will be released tomorrow.
Yeah.
This is the device that we discussed HTC on last week's episode with Daryl, and their fall from grace. And this device is 150 quid, 18x9, 3 gigs of RAM, headphone jack. It's okay. We'll have to see how it goes, but it's not too bad. From what I can tell.
If it's a good phone, like the specs look what you'd expect. It's how they do the software, which I think is a general thing with a lot of these cheaper phones anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, I'm totally not glancing over at the formulary right now, I promise. Anyway, okay, what was the other topic we had? Oh, Chromebooks. That was it.
Yes.
Let me pull up the article, because I actually did... this is the only topic I actually did research for.
Yeah, I did read through the article quickly.
This is at the point I realise I need to dig through my drive.
So we were saying earlier on about the fact that Android on tablets is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So they're saying with this device that it could basically be a very good Android tablet replacement with all of the Android apps, Linux apps as well. We are supported on Chrome OS now, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And so this could suddenly be a very good replacement for Android tablets, especially if it has the detachable screen that they think it will have. because it's not been confirmed yet, has
Yeah,
it?
I just love the code name Cheza. Like, that is my favorite part of this entire... I don't know why, but something about the code name Cheza is just hilarious to me.
It feels very unbusinesslike, unofficial.
Because, like, their usual code names are... I think what they are, like,
Buzzer.
sea creatures? It's like Mamba... what was the other one? Marlin, maybe? They're like some... I can't remember off the top of my head right
Dave.
now.
Surely it's Dave. Please say it's Dave.
I need to...
Why aren't you saying it's Dave?
It's because it's not. None of them are Dave.
Freddy. Wilfred.
Hang on. Lineage OS. I know where to find it. Devices. Here we are. So, Hammerhead. That's one of them. So we have Hammerhead, Dragon. The Pixel C was nicknamed Dragon. Shamu. That's the name I was going for. Manta, Mako, Angler. Like, they're all sea creatures. Whereas you then have Cheza, and I'm like, huh. That came out of nowhere.
There might be a sequel creature called Cheza. I'm highly doubting it.
There isn't. I've done the search.
Yeah, I mean, it comes up with some anime.
Yeah, some anime. But the thing that really excites me about this is that it is a full-on, like, flagship tablet that will run Chrome OS and has potential to be a genuinely great device for multiple reasons. First of all, it's the first Chrome OS device to support UFS 2.1 storage, which is exceedingly fast. It's expected to have eSIM support via Project Fi, which means you can use it as a tablet as opposed to just a laptop. That detachableness is great, and the more I look at Chrome OS, the less I want a Windows tablet or a Windows laptop. Sorry, like I love my £200 Chromebook so much, but I can't see myself going back to a Windows laptop that isn't like a Razer Blade, like.
Or a Surface Book, maybe?
Yeah, or like my point is like I can't see myself going in at less than like peak Windows, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, it is making the pre-£1,000 mark of Windows laptops look a little bleak. I think unless there was some standout feature. Of course, this isn't so much a standout feature anymore, but at one point, maybe like Dolby Atmos, if you did a lot of media consumption, or revolutionary. But yeah, it's just Chrome OS is actually doing what they've been hoping for years and is giving itself a good reason to not have Windows.
Yeah, I've been. And it's a fine line, right? Because Android and Linux, like especially on my laptop, I guess if my laptop had an i7 or whatever, then I'd use it for video editing as well. Now that it has Linux app support, but before that, it's great for everything that isn't video editing, and I do use it for everything that isn't video editing, more or less.
Yeah. Oh, go on.
No, go for it.
So of course I have Surface Book, and most of the things I do on there, I find I could do it with Windows 10s, so just using apps or Chrome OS. I'd say 99% of my things are done via the Chrome browser anyway, or things that I could do, say, for a Facebook game or an Android app. The odd game of Minesweeper, Candy Crush when I'm really bored, Solitaire, going on Discord and sending some people some messages. It's all done through that through sort of Chrome stuff or app-based stuff.
Yeah, and what I really love about it is and I guess my laptop really struggles in this, in the sense that because it is a proper laptop and doesn't have touchscreen, like a lot of games for Android don't really work too well. All the productivity is great, but the games aren't quite there. But games like Football Manager Mobile just pushed an update so it supports Chrome OS properly, and that works really well. And so, if it's stuff like that works really well.
Yeah, see, I think especially now Chrome OS is supporting Android apps properly. I think it is important on Chromebooks to have touchscreen. I think there is a lot of missed opportunity, missed functionality if you don't have the touchscreen, purely because the fact of you're missing out on an entire app store's worth of things which aren't built for mouse and keyboard generally. However, adding that touchscreen, and which is not an expensive thing to do, and suddenly you have a very, very good competitive device.
Yeah.
My phone's just flashing away next to me. Slightly distracting.
Send it to voicemail. Is it a call or is it like just a random thing?
It's just a message I got, and it's just flashing because it's Facebook Messenger. It's just flashing a green in my face.
Yeah. I've had a real issue. Actually, this isn't tech news, but this is news, and it is kind of tech related. I'm not sure if you're aware of this. I've been using the Facebook Messenger Lite app, and I discussed this last week again with Daryl. And if you haven't watched that podcast, go do so. It was great. But I've been using the Lite Facebook and Facebook Messenger apps, and I just randomly stopped receiving notifications for Facebook Messenger. And I think what that is I've also installed the regular Facebook Messenger for functionality purposes. Like occasionally, like the regular Facebook Messenger supports like live location sharing, for example. And if I need that, then I'll, go into the regular Facebook Messenger and do that. And I just reinstalled that. And I think what Facebook has done is if you have both apps installed, it just ignores the existence of the regular one, of the Lite one, sorry. And it was like, oh no, he doesn't need notifications on that. He's using the regular Facebook app. And it's like, God damn it, guys.
The Facebook app isn't exactly good, because I know my brother's had an issue with this for a while, where a bunch of times I'll send him messages and it just simply won't even go through. So on the Facebook app, you can see when it's sent off of your phone, and then when they get it on their phone. It just simply doesn't go through to his phone for sometimes half hour. Sometimes it goes straight through. But considering I primarily speak to him through Facebook Messenger, it was very inconvenient.
Real quick, if you don't want Formula E spoilers, look away now, because I'm going to quickly flash the screen. That is... Oh, no, our names are in the way. Hang on. Not our names, our overlay. Let's do that. There we are. That is the current... That's how it's finished. What that means is that Audi are the Constructors' Champions. The reason I want to bring this up real quick, Formula E, this is the last race with the regular cars. They're bringing in like a second generation of cars next year. And also, like, I just feel bad for Audi. So a couple of years ago, I was invited to, what's it called? Battersea Power Station, Battersea Park.
Okay.
Which is where the Formula E racing happened in London one year, without 1 year being 2 years ago. And I was invited by the Audi team. They were co-owned by Apt at that point. They had like a press party. I was invited along. I got to meet the drivers. It was great. I really like both Degrassi and Daniel Apt. I think that they were both really nice. So I've been like supporting them ever since. This season, they were set to run away with it, right? They had a car that was like, if you think back to like Mercedes, like 2 or 3 years ago, right? That was the level of car they had, right? And for the first half of the season, their car broke down every single race. The worst part was that like they knew what the problem was, but there's like this like 4-week delay or 6 weeks delay or something before you can implement a part in Formula E. With the reason being, if they didn't have that, then teams would be developing cars like they do in F1. and they want it to
Yeah.
be a cheap sport. So like, if you want to implement something, it's like 6 weeks, and the first like 4 or 5 races of the season, it took them like 2 races to figure out the issue, right?
Yeah.
And then there were like another 2 or 3 races before they got to implement the fix. So it was half of the season because there are only 12 races in the season. So they
Yeah.
were like race 5 or 6 when Audi finally had their car working. Okay, so it took they've only really competed in half of the season, and they just won the Constructors World Championship. For context, every race that Lucas de Grassi has finished, he has either finished in second or first.
That not too shabby.
Yeah, not half bad, right?
They need to nerf him. They need to give him some kind of handicap. Like he has to do every race with just like a little like sticker in the middle of his visor just to distract him.
Well, to be fair to him, it's not like he's like qualified on pole or everything, because he's really great at race pace, but his 1 lap pace is terrible. Like his qualifyings are notoriously like subpar. So most of these races he'd qualify in like 8th and then finishing over second or first.
Not bad.
Oh man. Anyway, that's the Formula E news. And congratulations to, I guess, Alan McNish as well, who is the team principal. What else is happening in the world of tech? I feel like that's really all I'm aware of.
I mean, one of the main things we didn't say about the Chromebook, it's the first Qualcomm Snapdragon 845 powered Chromebook, which is going to be very good.
Yes, yeah.
I actually don't know what's been going on this week. Maybe it's just been a slow week, or maybe I've just been very out of it this week. I mean, I am most weeks, but
oh, we can also discuss real quick, because we discussed this last week as well, but the final numbers are out from Twitter. Sorry about that. Thank you. From Twitter went on that massive banning spree of like bots.
Yeah.
Last week, they finally finished that, and a lot of like famous accounts lost a bunch of followers. So Katy Perry and Lady Gaga each lost 2.5 million followers.
I mean, didn't they both have like 100 million anyway, or something? Something ridiculous, I think.
I don't know off the top of my head.
Let me bring up social proof actually. I don't think that has Twitter.
So Katy Perry is currently at 107 million, yeah. What was most hilarious, though, to me at least, was the account that lost the most followers. Do you want to guess?
Trump.
Nope. I wonder if there isn't a number for that, actually.
Snappy-Tech.
No. It was actually
it
was Twitter's own account. Twitter lost 7.7 million followers. They didn't even have that many followers to lose. I don't think. Let me check.
They've currently got 55 million.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Katy Perry's the top followed. I didn't
realize. No, she has been.
I knew she was in the top 5. And I'm slightly surprised Lady Gaga's 6th. Because I know she's very popular, but I didn't realize quite that popular.
Yeah, no, Twitter has been interesting in terms of most follows.
Barack Obama with his 101 million.
Yep. He also lost 2.1 million-ish.
2.3 million he lost last Friday. I mean, he does get like an extra like 20,000 followers a day normally anyway, so I mean, it's not really hurting him, obviously.
Oh, I have a question for you. How much do you use Reddit?
Never, unless they just get
Oh,
linked to stuff.
perfect. So there was this subreddit called Thanos Did Nothing Wrong, made in the wake of... This is actually kind of tech news. Made in the aftermath of the Avengers movie.
Yeah.
There was a subreddit called Thanos Did Nothing Wrong, and it was like full of memes and stuff. And a couple of weeks ago, they decided it'd be funny if they banned half of the followers, like half of the subscribers. Now, I should mention for context, that's roughly 250,000 subscribers they wanted to ban. So they actually liaised with a bunch of engineers at Reddit and got the green light from Reddit to do it. They worked together to do it, all that jazz. They banned roughly half of the subscribers. It was hilarious. And it has just been like the most weird place to be. Like, I'm going to pull up some memes for the sake of the stream. It has just been like one of the funniest, most bizarre subreddits. Like, it really well encapsulates like
Stupidity.
No, it really encapsulates what I love about Reddit so much. Like how people can sort of encompass even the weirdest of situations. And I personally identify with this right here. Just putting it out there. But yeah, and the fact you got Reddit's full backing, and there are actually trophies that were issued by Reddit. I didn't get one because apparently you had to comment or make a post, and I hadn't done that. I just subscribed. So let me go to my profile, and you'll see that I didn't post until like after it was done, so I didn't get the trophy for it. But there were 2 separate trophies: one if you were banned, one if you weren't. Let me pull those up real quick. But yeah, it was just hilarious. Is this it? Yeah. So the one on the left is if you got banned, one on the right is if you weren't. It was just so bizarre.
It just seemed so very stupid, yet so very amazing.
Yeah, it's a great like community.
It's one of those internet, like this is the internet things. You think like what, some genius made this idea. But at the same point, like, oh god damn it.
Yeah, and it's to be fair, there's even like they made a second subreddit called In the Soul Stone, which is if you got banned, you can subscribe to the In the Soul Stone Reddit, and in there, like, you can only post if you're banned from the Thanos Did Nothing Wrong Bennett. Let me pull up this website. This one. Oh, it's not In the Soul Stone. Oh, sorry, that's In Soul Stone. I need the word the. In the Soul Stone. And so you can only post on this subreddit if you already have, if you've been banned. And what's hilarious is that this went from 0 to 230,000 subscribers in like 2 days. Because obviously everyone who got banned was told to subscribe to the In the Soul Stone subreddit. And the people who did that...
So they were all active as well.
Yeah, because this was like... that was the thing. The Thanos Did Nothing Wrong subreddit started at like 100k when they announced they were going to do it. It then peaked at 750. And then, because they like banned half, it's now at 560.
Mm-hmm. Oh. This is just...
It's the internet, and it's great.
How do you even internet?
How does one internet?
Oh, like, because I spend so much time on Twitch now, you have so many people asking, what even is Kappa? And I'm like, one does not get... Oh, there is no definition for Kappa, one just knows.
It is an understanding, a mutual feeling.
You don't get taught Kappa, you learn Kappa.
Can I just make a couple of Switch-related announcements?
Okay.
First of all, the Switch currently has 928 games in all regions, expected to hit 1,000 by the holiday season, which is great because I love the Switch. I love my Switch. I was playing some what's the word I'm looking for? Fallout Shelter earlier for like no reason. Like I have it on my phone, but I decided to just switch to on my Switch for some reason. Secondly, Secondly, Death Squared hit its first birthday yesterday. They hit 50,000 sales, or 52,000, in 52 weeks. And they said when or if/when they sell 250,000 copies, right? So they're 198,000 away. But if/when they hit 250,000 copies, they'll make it free permanently. Isn't that great?
Nice guys.
Yeah, and it's not even an expensive game. Like it's like a $5 or something.
I guess it gets to a certain point where you can't expect many more sales, which is usually a year mark rather than a sale mark, though. But it gets to a certain point where you've paid back all of the fees you've paid for a game, you've paid for everyone's wages, and it's just like, well, yeah, let's make it free. Let's use this as some good PR and boost our next game sales instead.
It's also worth mentioning, I'm pretty sure that makes it the best-selling game by SMG this year. And it's also worth mentioning, Death Squared is also available on PC. Like, you can get it on Steam. What's been really interesting is seeing like indie devs on Switch, like those of them who are like turned on and really talk with the community, have had amazing sales numbers. And there's also a demo, so if you want to check it out right now, it's worth doing.
Yeah, I'm just looking on Steam. Okay, yeah, it was right.
Also, wait, what? Apparently, there's going to be a new Direct on the 24th of July, which would be great. Apparently, with Fallout 4 for Switch, which I would love dearly, considering they've already ported Wolfenstein and Doom. Like, it's not a stretch. It's crazy that they ported those games. Also, I just want to point out, but hey, Pikmin 4. Pokemon is coming later this year. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon is coming out for 3DS. Which
yay, 3DS.
The 3DS is still getting a steady stream of games. I will point that out. Like the 3DS is still, Nintendo's #2 console, and is actually very well selling. I've been tempted to buy a 3DS on multiple occasions because they're like 90 quid, and just for the sake of playing Pokemon
that
games.
Explains it.
Yeah, no, they're really good.
I mean, at this point, the 3DS is a few years, 4 or 5 years old. I know there's been several iterations of it, actually.
Yeah, and you can get
I don't profess to be a professional on Nintendo at all anymore.
So you can play 2DS games, 3DS games, from £80, and that comes with a game. So it's £80 for a 2DS, which is a 2D version of a 3DS, with Animal Crossing. Is £80. I would suggest, however, the 2DS XL, which is a folding version of a 2DS, because the gimmick with the original 2DS was that it didn't fold.
Yeah, that was a bit terrible.
Yeah, it just really didn't work. But it was like designed for kids and designed to be really rugged. But the 2DS XL actually folds, so it looks just like a regular 3DS, except it's only 2D, which some would argue makes it better. And yeah, supports 3DS games just in 2D, which is fine. And so with Mario Kart is £135. And it's great. And it's backwards compatible, so you can play all your DS games as well.
Oh, that's good. I was going to say something about it, but I can't remember what it was. Yeah. Oh,
should we call it a show?
This whole... I'm not used to this whole making content and staying awake for it thing. I'm too out of practice.
Well, luckily for you, we're going to call it a show.
Yeah, sounds like a good idea.
We're around the hour and a half mark, so that's roughly where we want to be, which is good. I need to get out of this room because I am drenched in sweat.
Yes. I need to probably have a shower or something.
Oh, it is just so bad. I need many, many showers.
Yeah, it hit 28 today, and it didn't feel as bad as it has done some days recently. But God, we really need it to rain.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
It's so bad. Yeah, I thought it was raining the other day. So I woke up in the night, and it sounded like it was raining outside. Turns out it was a fire. Actually, well. So this is probably an interesting story to end
please tell.
I mean, I live in quite a small village. It's quite a nice village. Apart from, I think it must be a group of like young kids or something. Well, I say young kids, probably secondary school, college age kids that have been going around setting fires around the village.
That's nice.
And it seems to be setting fires to trees. Mainly kind of not doing any damage to actual houses or whatever. So it seems, because in the case of Friday night, they could have quite easily done a lot more damage if they'd just went like 10 yards one way. But so suddenly I was starting to wake up, and I suddenly heard my mum scream to me, "Oh, there's a fire out the back!" And I actually have some pictures. Basically, these guys, because it hasn't rained recently, some guy had managed to set fire to some trees and some fence, and this massive fire. And we actually have CCTV out the back. There is a lamppost there, so you couldn't really see it too great because of the interference from the light. But you can see someone step back from the fence after starting the fire and then run off, and then you can just see all of these flames spitting out onto the grass, and there's a massive burnt patch on the grass now, and the trees there are just a shell of charred remains. See if you can.
What absolute idiots!
Yeah, and you can see that sort of the burnt grass. It looked as if it was one person, and my mum actually said she heard someone running down the side of the house, and it would seem as if it's that person. So this is when I first got.
Yeah.
So because the CCTV camera has night mode, of course it's triggered by low light. It actually got to the point that the fire was so bright for like a couple of seconds it triggered into just normal daytime mode, and yeah, it's a bit crazy, but. So I did have something interesting happen this week. I knew there was something I was missing. Yeah.
Well, stay safe. Don't spontaneously combust.
Luckily, we've only got like one little bush in the back of my garden, so I don't think we're a target. It seems like that there's been a few places to look as if they've had fires, and it's all been like evergreen, like conifer trees. So. It would seem as if we should be safe.
So, Paul, if people want to find you, where should they go?
Not here, apparently, unless you want to get on fire. So if you wish to go and follow me on Twitter, you can go to snpy.tech/Paul, I think. So I do occasionally post there, sometimes rants, sometimes funny things, sometimes relatable rubbish, and occasionally I stream, and my Twitch is over on my Twitter, so go and follow me there as well. I actually have an emote on my Twitch now. So it's basically a derpy kappa, and so now I actually suddenly have a few subs because people just want to use my emote, which is perfect.
Awesome. Apparently the snpy.tech thing has been turned off. I'll see if I can fix that. I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah,
that's really bizarre.
Well, I mean, if that doesn't start working, it's at Paul Stubbers. So
yeah. Is it a domain issue? I don't know what that is. Okay, I'll look into that after this.
Yeah.
That's really odd.
So strange.
It's just died. How odd. I don't think it's the domain being out of date. Is it a rebrandly issue? Anyway, I'll look into that later.
Yeah.
The crazy part is this is claiming it's all okay. So, okay, I'll take a look and find out. Anyway, thank you, Paul, for joining us. It's been a great episode as always. If you enjoy this podcast and want to catch it recorded instead of listening live, you can go to snpy.tech/podcast as soon as this is fixed. /iTunes if you use an Apple device. And then go to /Twitter, /Facebook, /YouTube for all the socials. If you want to support us, you can go to /Patreon for a monthly consistent commitment. If you just want to donate a one-off cup of coffee for £3 or £2, something like that, you can go to snpy.tech/coffee.kofi. Greatly appreciated. Paul, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next week when we have, hopefully, another guest. There's some potentially on the cards. We shall see. Bye.